What's going on, everyone? So, if you're just tuning in now, we've been discussing all of the colors in Dragoborne and what's gonna be the best possibilities for each color when Rally to War actually comes out, and how decks are gonna function, which colors will be pairing well together. And today we are talking about red, one of the most feared colors ever since this game was first announced, at least for me. I mean, when we were given the demo deck, Pyroblast was the best card, as well as Torch. Now, that is also because of the lack of effects, but also because those effects were so strong. And then, ever since the Card of the Days came out, it was during that first week, we got Zarko. He is the biggest boss monster, and yeah, his effect is definitely something to make your opponent cringe, because they know they're losing something when they see this card. He does 6 damage when he hits the field, and if he's Drago Crossed and leaves the field, he does another 7 damage, as well as being able to bump up one of your dice to 6. That is huge because Torch and Pyroblast both depend on the value of your red dice, so they really shine in a mono red deck. I feel like mono red is one of those decks that is going to be good. I think red and yellow are really the only two right now that can get away with being one color. Because red also has stuff like Vylon. Vylon is extremely powerful when also being used with some weaker creatures, because it allows you to do extra damage to Drago Shields and getting more damage in. But going back to what we see in the demo deck, the demo deck showcased us some really great stuff that really is missing from the rest of the set. We have Harpy Huntress, who first turn goes from a 2/2 to a 5/4 if Drago Crossed. And that's one of the biggest jumps, other than Elven Farstriker, who can jump up pretty high on the turn she's summoned. But Harpy Huntress is just a 2-drop, and being able to go up that high is pretty incredible. Then we've also got Runic Bladesmith, or Battlesmith. I believe he is the only creature with an attack that is at least 2 higher than his cost. So this is a creature that can destroy any Drago Shield because it has 6 attack. This card is extremely powerful, and I'm glad it doesn't have an effect, because that would make it too broken. This card is simply amazing, and it's just a vanilla. So, as I said with Harpy Huntress, even these smaller creatures have amazing effects, like Goblin Madcap, which we also saw in the demo deck. And this card, when it's destroyed, does 3 damage to a Drago Shield. And when being used with Vylon, there's another 2 damage. So this allows for a ton of destruction and leaving your opponent wide open. So one of the other cards that was given to us was Highland Rogue. And I had initially didn't think that this card was that great, but after playing around with it, being a 3/3 on turn 2 or something is really good, and it's only a 1-drop. It's essentially just one step down from Harpy Huntress. But then we've also got Carefree Orc, who early game just can destroy almost anything your opponent puts out. Red just has a lot of really strong effects that don't cost so much. So it even shines in the ambushes. Ravian early game can do 2 damage to all of your opponent's creatures when she's summoned. So she could potentially board wipe if they only have small creatures. And even some of the larger ones with less defense, like Hidden Blade, that's going to be dropping to Ravian. Then we've also got Pyroblast, which, when used in a mono red deck, has a higher chance of doing a lot of damage. So I feel like one of the parts that this deck lacks in is the Fort Bursts. We've got a lot of really strong effects, so I am kind of glad there aren't as many Fort Bursts. But Torch is one of the better ones that we have, if it's not hiding behind your only red fort. So in a mono red deck, this is going to have a lot more value. but if it's paired with like 2 other colors, or you're only using 1 red, then Torch kind of loses something. But I feel like red being paired with black is one of the strongest combinations, simply because black offers that extra destruction in terms of cards like Gluttony of Albert or Address Disdain, and even in the ambushes like Death Trap. I mean, it's an Pyroblast that doesn't rely on the dice. So black just makes this deck so much more powerful. Albert giving creatures deadly, and then I'm going to talk about this in tomorrow's video, but pairing it with Carefree Orc. There's just so much that black brings to red that those two are a really powerful combination when it gets into the later game and you have more resources. So speaking of that, as I said in the green video, green pairs well with this because Fleetwing Sprite, Red Fang, Growth, they all give you more resources, which lets you summon Zarko sooner, because this is the card that you want to get out. This card is going to have an impact on the meta throughout this next format and possibly into whatever the next set is, depending on what else we get. And then not only Zarko, but Fafnir too. He destroys a Drago Shield and a creature when he's summoned. So that offers a lot in terms of game state. I mean, being able to drop him and leave your opponent without any defenses. As we saw, we saw in the video that Bushiroad had made that Fafnir paired with Violon pretty much leaves no Drago Shields on the field and lets you just go in and attack. But however, the game was won by the other player, but that was all staged, so can't really count that. But then we've also got Leilani's Call, which, as I said in the green video, lets you summon your Zarko on your opponent's turn. It also works for Fafnir and anything else you could want to summon. There's just so much value in this card, and using green in this deck really just makes it that much stronger because you're summoning your stuff faster, you're just pounding your opponent in before they even get a chance to really respond. Unless you're playing some really controlling deck that plays a lot of ambushes that are able to recover. But if they aren't, this deck has a really good chance at winning. But yeah, I feel like I think red, yellow, green could also have some potential, but I think red, black is where this game is headed, at least early on, and I feel like that's really something for you guys to consider. But anyways, let me know what you guys thought of this. Do you think red and black are going to be one of the strongest contenders early on? We've got that, I think it's the regionals in September. Do you think that that is what's going to be showcased there? Like, is that going to have the most people playing that? Or do you think it's going to go to something else? But yeah, let me know down below what you guys think is the best color now that we're getting towards the end of these. And also be sure to follow me on Twitter. Check out Dragoracle and the Facebook page, as I say in all the videos. And as always, thanks for watching.